Be me, Shuni Inventor. Stride in and call out, "Hey loser, did you just say mod?" Points at his head a steampunk barricade buster that shoots acid. That's our word. Boom. Hey, what's up everybody? SkyDieRay here, and it's time for another D&D haiku. Healing pots are red, the blue ones do magic too, green melts your insides. Very useful haiku, very useful to remember this one. Anyway, welcome to another DnDGreentext video. How are you guys doing? Having a wonderful day today. Before jumping into it, I wanna quickly kindly ask if you wanna take a moment to smash the like button. Takes a second and helps out a lot, so thanks so much for that. And yeah, with that being said, I hope you enjoy. Just another day as a paladin. Be me, Elistrian Drow Paladin. Lawful good. Party stays in a remote village. Villagers are very nice folks who help us with supplies and are very friendly towards us. Something sinister is going on in the village. I sense a constant presence of some evil around there. Dead are raising from the grave at night, etc. Also, there's a bunch of bandits controlling the village, taking taxes from whoever passes by and pillaging the local tavern for supplies. One night, the party clashes with a small group of bandits. During that fight, I go unconscious and see a very disturbing vision of LOL. The fight is over. Hey villagers, let's go kill the rest of the bandits together. Hard no. Villagers decide to drug us to sleep and take us to the bandits so they won't kill them. Everybody but one guy fail the save and go to sleep. Villagers try to club that guy to unconsciousness, but the last second he casts web and flees. Villagers proceed to tie up the rest of the party. They wear masks cause they're genuinely good people and feel bad for what they're doing. But there's no other choice. Suddenly, I wake up. There are spider webs all around me and some creepy masked dudes are tying us up. Oh yeah, it's all coming together, that JPEG. Hey guys, wake up. There's some LOL cultists trying to sacrifice us for some dark ritual. I go sicko mode and smash some heads with a banjo that happened to lie nearby. 3 dead and 1 fled. Under the masks, we see the villagers that we knew and loved. No regret though. LOL claws go far and can corrupt anyone. My face when my lawful good paladin just killed an innocent commoner and didn't give a crap. Oh god, they didn't know. They did not realize. They did not realize they're not cultists. God damn. That's, well, maybe it's for the better. Maybe it's for the better that he does not have the reason, he doesn't have reason to feel horrible for it. DM likes puns. Be me, the DM. World builds my first campaign. Make countries inspired on IRL nations, and make a peninsular country that explores the world seas, has trade routes to almost every place, and is kind of isolated from the rest of its continent. Creates a cold country of various low population regions and huge cities that is rich in minerals and have a lot of fighting for power and dictatorship. Creates a young country based on military expansion, making either strong allies or strong enemies aboard. Opens monster manual. Read a funny monster name, Githyanki. Remembers the monster is called Gift. Reads the gift description. Said military country has a huge part of the army of gifts. Creates the Githyanki. The barbarian who became a beer keg. Be me, 4th level dwarf barbarian. Be not me, a turtle monk, an elf fighter, and a human woe. We are tasked with killing an entire city with whatever means necessary. We decide to use drakes to fly around the city using alcohol as an accelerant. Okay. That's one way, sure. We capture the drakes pretty easily and look for enough alcohol for this plan. We hear about a company that makes barrels of infinite alcohol and decide to steal it. We kill a caravan hauling the barrels of infinite alcohol and begin to attack the city. We burn most of the city before the guards injure our drakes, making us crash land. A barrel of alcohol cracks and begins to spew an infinite amount of alcohol everywhere. The break in the barrel is just small enough that I could plug the hole with my body. We decide that's the best option as we don't have anything else to plug the hole with. I plug the hole with my body and everything seems okay. After a few seconds, my character's hands start hurting and I ask the DM what's happening. He says that the barrel had a spell on it that turns whatever isn't alcohol or wood into a part of the barrel, aka wood. My barbarian is now stuck to the barrel, turning him into a wooden statue. That is where the session left off. I have no idea how I'm going to get out of this one. Pathfinder 2nd edition. What the f*** did you just say, my f***? As the party enters a small room with enemies in it, the fight starts. I haven't gotten into the room yet. On the druid's turn, her dog attacks one of them. Guy calls out, "Miserable mutt." Be me, Shuni Inventor. Stride in and call out, "Hey loser, did you just say mutt?" Points at his head a steampunk barricade buster that shoots acid. That's our word. Boom. My grandma joined my Fallout D&D. I've told this story in other places before, but wanted to tell it here too since I just joined Reddit and think you guys may enjoy it. We started playing D&D 3.5 with a Fallout module called Exodus, and it was going pretty well. We took the living world approach where players can roam and affect areas based on their choices in quests and travels. We were about 6 or so months in when my grandmother first asked about it further when I told her of the sessions of my first group. I told her it was a violent 50s post-apocalyptic game full of mean people, blood and monsters, and normally she hates all these things. She's one of those overly religious grandmas that tends to not watch anything that drops F-bombs or shows lots of blood. But since she loves history, murder documentaries, 50s and survival shows, she immediately got excited and wanted to play. I wrote her up a sheet and helped her make a character. She described her character as an elderly antiques dealer that's from Pennsylvania and was chasing a time-traveling ship named Eldridge that went missing in the 40s. She saw a show on the real-life version and thought it would be cool to go after it in a story. She played an elderly woman that went by many names and constantly changed clothes, so it was hard to track her down. We started off calling her Grandma, but she later named her Pistol Packing Grandma, or PPG for short, based on the song Pistol Packin' Mama. She started off with about 20 caps and an M1 Garand, since she did well with describing her antiques dealer story. Wearing a long brown duster and hat, Grandma started her adventure at the Mojave since that's where the quest began. She got a job through a caravan after showing she had high medical skills and would be valuable as a nurse. She would be riding on the caravan to the new Reno. The adventure went pretty normal until she came across 3 guys beating up a ghoul, and I began reading out the scene and how interaction works when the first thing she did was blow out the knee of one guy and he topples to the ground. She aims at his other knee and makes her demands. Get your friend and get out, or I'll blow out his other knee. The level 1 enemies took their lead pipe and charged her. She shot a second time, blowing out his other knee. She then points at the stunned enemies. Drop them and run. I mean it. Next shot is going to his liver. She rolls to intimidate them with advantage and passes with flying color. Well, okay Grandma, that's one way to go about the encounter, I suppose. Probably intimidate. I'm really gonna hope it's meant to be intimidate. They dropped their stuff and hightailed from the area. She helped the ghoul and bandaged him up, and she was rewarded lumpy fruit and went on her way to get a long rest. The next in-game day, the caravan rides for a few hours until hitting a checkpoint. It was a small military base run by the Rangers. As the lead merchant Hank focused on payment and paperwork, she decided to haggle for an extremely beat-up jeep. One so bad, it would easily go into a death wobble at 15 miles an hour. She is given the deal plus a full tank of gas, and didn't try to do rolls to find out if he was lying or not. Unbeknownst to her, I planned to show her how mean the wasteland can be with this side quest reward. Her job was to exterminate a mole rat nest from the museum half of the base. She was given a key and told good luck. So to prepare, she had an idea and began to gather trash to create something I didn't expect, a trash bag based ghillie suit. Taking her place next to some garbage with a rifle and the wrench she found, she began her wait for mole rats. Once she saw where they were coming from, she decided to kill the 3 already traveling outside the nest. The first was taken out with a bullet. She missed the second and third shot. Grandma got bit twice. She shot and killed the second and immediately went for bludgeoning the last one by surprise. Getting up from her kills, she scavenged the meat and caved in the entrance to the nest and told the soldier that she completed the quest. He then gave her the jeep, except there was a problem. A superior talked to him and would only allow half a tank of gas. She attempts diplomacy but fails. The superior introduces himself as Dante and tells her that he filled it up so she could be on her way. Unknown to her, he broke the gauge to always stay full. She proceeded to take it and begin her travels, delighted with her far more impressive reward than what the caravan gave. A few hours later, the jeep putters to a halt and she realizes what happened. Me. You realize that your jeep is out of gas and it's about 2 days walk to go back. I don't care. They screwed me and I'm going back, says Grandma. When it's morning? No, immediately. So through hellish conditions, raider encounters and low ammo, she comes across her caravan as it finally caught up. She uses her diplomacy to get their help with her situation. In return, they get the jeep. She succeeds with the generous trade and spends the next few hours going back. She arrives at the checkpoint doors and replies, "You screwed me. The Jeep didn't have a full tank. Now I want a second one with a full tank of gas after what you did." To set the scene for you, these were all level 6 rangers in full gear in a huge group of about 30. They are well armed with 4 snipers and 2 minigun soldiers. The rest had rifles and revolvers. Dante comes to the door and pretty much tells her the work was barely worth a Jeep, let alone gas, and she should be thankful. They argue further, and after a few failed diplomacy rolls, he got aggressive and said he'd shoot her if she doesn't leave. So she left and began carefully planning guerrilla warfare against the well-armed military base. She started by using her merchant connection to cut off trade to the base aside for contaminated food and radiated water. She returned a few days later with her armed caravan and replied, "Alright Dante, if you want healthy soldiers, you'll work with me. Now I want 4 jeeps and 4 full tanks of gas." He chuckles and orders the soldiers to fire warning shots at her. She immediately backs off and goes back to planning. Over the course of months, hours IRL, she then learned that trade wasn't good at all and the Ranger faction ran settlements nearby. So she carefully began to fix all the problems of Ranger-ran settlements, carefully replacing the law with armed merchants and kicking out the faction. With good trade of food, water, weapons, medicine, and the death of minor raiders causing problems, one by one she toppled the Ranger-controlled towns in quick succession. She then cut off the trade fully. She then returned to the base with her caravan fully armed with pipe rifles and jerry-rigged guns. "Alright Dante, now I want 8 jeeps and 8... She's interrupted by the fire of 5 soldiers who took first. Dante shouts, "Your caravan will die after those acts of terrorism against us," as 2 shots hit her immediately, knocking her health to blooded quickly. A slaughter of a gunfight ensued. To the shock of the caravan, Dante's men mowed down their people with superior weaponry and skill. Between frenzied Brahmin and fleeing merchants, Grandma grabbed an escaped Brahmin and immediately escaped with the rest of the fleeing people. I expected her to give up right then and there since it nearly killed her character and slaughtered the faction she newly began. She calmed them down and gave a speech, citing the new towns they took, booming trade and their sheer numbers. She proclaimed it wasn't an act of power what the soldiers did, but an act of fear for what they accomplished. She promised them riches doubling all they have already got, and then some if they continued to follow her lead. Otherwise, they made an enemy with the Rangers at this checkpoint for the rest of their lives. With a fantastic speech, points, and a few great rolls, they were on board one more time. "But now, we are fighting differently," she replies. Over the course of a few days, they finally cut power to the base and waged her war, in quick successions, surrounding while throwing crafted Molotov cocktails at generators, buildings, tanks, and tents. The men were far too busy in a total panic to fight them and the fires, giving Grandma and the merchants more than enough time to retreat. Buying a scope for her rifle, Grandma focused on fitting the men for one final attack. Using the last of her crafting materials, she made explosives and gave them to the men, deciding on hiding herself on a nearby cliff, equipped with her trashbag ghillie suit. She stuck a large rusty pipe over the barrel of her rifle and went into place. Debuffed from contaminated food, water, lack of sleep, low moral and medical supplies, the soldiers were weak and low on health and good rolls after all the bad stats were calculated. The merchants made their first move at attacking the entrance, shooting at guards at their posts in such high numbers that even with low damage, it was chipping away great amounts of damage each turn. With Molotovs to push the soldiers back and pipe bombs to blow the doors open, they breached the entrance and had full attention of the Rangers. They began to pull out the big guns. Except unknown to them, Grandma began dropping the snipers with the help of her new scope. One after another, she began aiming at their guns, legs, and hands. With a stealth crit modifier, the ones who didn't die were too sick, crippled, and damaged to get proper shots on the merchants. By the time they realized what was happening, it was too late. The base fell to the level 1 Grandmom and a bunch of Piper rifle toting merchant NPCs. From ammo to guns and gear, merchants began looting the place of everything it had left over. 2 Rangers were left alive in the base, Dante and his bodyguard. As the place was looted, Grandma had the 2 men stripped of weapons and ammo, and she then said, "Alright Dante, now I'm taking all the vehicles and all the gas." Shocked and in complete dismay, he's tossed from his own base and given freedom to go to the next town without prosecution. Grandma explained she felt the best tactic for keeping her enemies is fear. She wanted two alive to tell the tale of what happened at that base. Grandma left the base with all vehicles. From motorcycles, jeeps to even water tankers, she had enough to make a hefty amount of money and repay the merchants. I was completely shocked at how I saw it all turn out. I've never had players go to this depth or level of petty determination and tactics. I expected her to go rogue and maybe steal from the bad guys or murder Hobo at the first realization of what the Raiders faction were, but didn't expect this. It took me an entire page front to back of notes and tally marks for me to calculate all the insane amounts of experience she made. If I remember it right, it leveled her up to 8, putting her one level above the group I was already playing with. Afterwards, Grandma then asked me to get her a glass of soda and said she'd like to play again, this time heading towards the military bases on her way to Pennsylvania. I mentioned the other factions of Fallout lore and Enclave stuck specifically. She said they should have been purged the moment the Wasteland realized they existed. Her logic was that Vietnam was the moment she personally stopped trusting. They stopped being trustworthy after Agent Orange, she said. Alright, Grandma is fun, I guess. She really seemed to enjoy that campaign. On that note, that's it for today's video, so thank you so much for watching, I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to leave a like if you did and subscribe for more if you haven't already. Also, thank you to everyone supporting the channel on Patreon, as well as on YouTube, it's a lot, so thanks so much for those. Links below if you need to check them out, there's links to social media, subreddit, Discord, anything else. And yeah, that's it. Thanks again for watching and I'll see you next time. Have a great day, bye.